Hello again, everybody. This is Brad with another Floriani Total Control U video for you. Today I'm going to continue with the towel embossing, and so I hope you're not sick of that yet. And we're going to do more advanced stuff with towel embossing this time. Basically, I want to do a variety of different types of embossing, and also I want to show you how to add a satin stitch outline, which cleans up the letters, makes them pop a little bit. But it's a little more tricky than the way we did it in the last video. So if you haven't already watched the first towel embossing video for FTCU, I recommend you go watch that first. I'm going to throw up a link right here. Just go ahead and click that. Watch the video and come back when you watched it. So we're going to start the same way that we did in the last video. We're going to go ahead and go to View, choose Select Hoop, choose whatever format you use. I use PES, because I use baby locks like a reasonable person. And I'm going to choose my hoop. I'm going to do the 300 by 200 here, which is going to be a hoop going all the way across the screen this way. That's my big hoop, turned sideways, basically. And yeah, so now the next step, for the first one we're going to do here, I'm going to use a rectangle again, but remember, you can use rectangles or circles or triangles or pentagons, or even these custom shapes that are in here, which we're going to get to later in this very video. So let me choose my rectangle here. I'm just going to click and drag a rectangle. You know, it doesn't really, you can pick the size yourself. It doesn't really matter how big it is as far as the method goes. So I've brought in my rectangle. It's, let's see, I look over and transform if I want to see the actual size of my properties here. So this is just under 10 inches wide, a little over 4 inches tall. That's fine with me. The next step is to bring in the letters that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go over here to Import TTF Artwork. It's right here. Make sure you don't accidentally click the text tool, because that's going to bring in embroidered letters. That's not what we're looking for this. So we get Import TTF Artwork. And, oh look, I've already got from my last time I did it. Well, yours is going to say, right here, it's going to say my text, and here it's going to say Arial. So where it says my text right now on your screen, here, I'll make it look the same, my text. That is, yours is going to say my text. So you go in here and you type in what you want it to say, and I do, in fact, want it to say Meadow. So I'm going to type that in. And then for the font, I'm going to go in, and this time I'm going to pick a different font. I had tried this earlier to make sure it was going to work, which is why I remembered what font I was on here. I'm going to use this Keep on Truckin' font. Basically what you're looking for is any font that's fat. You know, fat letters like these, the way these letters are. So, like, you know, you probably don't have that Keep on Truckin' one because I downloaded it myself. But, like, there's one that most people have called Cooper something. What is it? I don't remember. Cooper. There we go, Cooper. This is a good one. This works well, and it actually looks just like my I keep on trucking thing, so, well, whatever, we'll just use this. So we'll just use this Cooper font, or, you know, like I said, anything will work, but the bolder the letter, the better it will work. So I'm just going to click OK, and then OK. Brings my letters in, here they are, and then I can move them wherever I need them to be, stretch them out, make them bigger. Let's see, I'm going to stretch these a little bit taller, like that. Okay, so now I just place it within my rectangle. So I'm just left-clicking on them. And remember, if you accidentally left-click off of these, they're not grouped. Okay, so you can't move all of them just by clicking on one of them. So if you accidentally do that, just click and drag a box around them, or you can hold down the Control key and left-click on them over here in the sequence view, whatever you're comfortable with. But so now we've got our letters here. We've got our rectangle. In the previous video, the next step would be to combine these. But in this video, what we have to do is select everything as if we were going to combine them by left-clicking and dragging a box around them, or you could hit Control-A, or you could left-click on all items in your sequence view. But instead of combining them just yet, we're going to actually copy and paste this. So just right-click on one of the letters, choose Copy. Now this is with everything selected now. If you don't have everything selected, this isn't going to work. So copy, and then right-click again and paste. And what that's going to give us is two separate instances of our rectangle and our letters. So we've got rectangle letters, rectangle letters. Right. So what we want to do is we want to have the first rectangle selected. So look on your sequence view, select the first rectangle, and then hold down your Shift key. Okay, I'm holding down my shift key, and then left click on the last letter before it goes back to the rectangle again. Okay, so holding down shift and left click, and it'll select everything in that line. Okay, so we've got all this stuff selected. So basically the stuff that we had at first is now what is selected. Okay, now we're going to combine these guys. So go move your mouse back over one of the letters and right click, choose combine. Ah, I can't see anything. It's okay, don't worry. So we've combined all this, and now we're going to apply a stitch. And if you accidentally click off of here, like if I click over here, oh no, I can't see anything. Just go to your sequence view and pick the very first thing in the sequence view that says, you can't really read it, but it's a box with my letters cut out of it. So we have that selected. We're going to go down towards the bottom to one of these digitizing buttons down here. It's the motif fill. It's the third star over. Okay, so we're going to left click on that. It's going to digitize it. Alright, so now we've got basically what we had the last time. And again, remember, you want to go up and change your pattern. Essentially, anything that is kind of like a cross or a plus sign will work. I, again, have found F061 to work just fine. But if you don't like that for some reason, you can pick something else. Okay, so now the next step is let's just go ahead and assign a satin stitch outline to our rectangle first. So we're going to left click on our artwork rectangle that's left, and we're going to go down to our satin stitch button, which is on these first three little curves you get. You get run, motif, and steel. We're going to, I keep saying satin. I mean to say steel. So we're going to left click on steel. It puts the steel satin stitch outline in there. And now I need to select my remaining letters, the ones that have the letter and the word artwork next to them. So you're gonna, the easiest way to do it is to go in your sequence view and left click on your first letter, hold down the shift key just like we did before, and then left click on your last letter, and it'll select all of them for you. That's a good handy way to do that. Now, you would think that we could just apply the steel stitch to these, but we can't. And the reason for that is these three letters in the middle on this particular word anyway. It may vary on yours, of course. But any letter that has a hole in it, like this A has a hole in it, and the D has a hole in it, the O has a hole in it. Anything with a hole like that, you have to break them apart before you apply the steel stitch to it. And the reason for that is if you try to create a single outline out of two separate lines, then it creates a problem. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to create problems. So look at your word and find the ones that have the holes. In my case, it's the A, the D, and the O. So I'm going to left click first on the A, and then, oh, I guess I had to select all of those for no reason, right? Sorry about that. We're going to have to do that in a minute. So left click on the A to select it, and then right click on it, choose break apart. And then the D, well, substitute your letters that you need. Right click on it, break apart. And then in this case the O, right click, break apart. Okay, so now we've got these shapes. The holes are no longer being seen, but they are still there. Well, they're not holes in the shape, but the shape that was part of the hole is now still there. And what we're going to do is what we did, what I told you to do before in error. You're going to left click on the first part of your word and hold down shift, left click on the last part. This is in the sequence view. That's selecting everything that's in right in here, okay, and it'll select it all. You just, the first one, hold down shift, last one, and then you're going to again go back down to where it says steel and left click on that. Okay, now the default stitch width will not work for a lot of different fonts. Now, it just happened to have worked with this particular font, but on Arial Black it doesn't at most sizes. On a lot of other fonts I've tried, it creates too wide of a satin stitch around where the M's are, where the bends are rather on the M. So it's a good idea to change your stitch width. Now, in this one I don't actually have to. What'll happen is a little warning will come up and tell you you've created a satin stitch width that's wider than 10 millimeters and that you should stop it. But just to be safe, I'm going to go up and change my stitch width up here on my property. So I'm going to change it to 1.5. which is a really, really narrow satin stitch. But I've done this a number of times, and I find that the really narrow satin stitch does look really nice with the towel embossing look. So when you're done with this, and you sew it out, it's going to be very similar to the last towel embossing that we did, but it looks kind of a little more elegant, I think, and the letters look more defined. It kind of hides where the ends of the what do you call this? The motif fill kind of end in like a weird way some of the time, like around corners especially. So that helps to hide some of that. Yeah, so that's how you would make a satin stitch outline around both your towel embossing and the letters. So yeah, that's cool. So how do we do some other shapes in here? Well, let's go ahead and delete this guy, and we'll bring in some other shapes. So if we go in here to the shape tool again, we see that there's actually a spot for custom shapes. So we left click on the custom shape button, and any of these shapes that are in here can be used either as the shape to hold the embossing or as embossing itself. So let's see what we have here. We've got a bird. Put a bird on it. Anybody who gets that reference gets a point. Christmas tree. That's a common thing to want to do. So say you want to make Christmas tree towels or something. So there we go. We've got the Christmas tree. And from here, it's the same procedure. We could bring in, say we want to just do like a capital letter M, or, you know, this will work on anything with a nap. So imagine having a custom embossed stocking, you know, for a kid. Or anything that's got a nap, it'll work. But so we bring in our text, make my monogram bigger, select everything. If I wanted to do the satin stitch thing, I would copy and paste, but if I just want to do it the simpler way, I can combine this, apply a motif fill to it, and boom, there we go. Change your fill type. Good to go. So this can also be in any shape that you can draw. So I hear you saying, but Brad, I can't draw with a mouse on a computer. Yeah, I can't either. So what you're going to do is use a backdrop and trace it. So the way you bring in a backdrop image, now this is going to be like an image that you download off the internet, or maybe you scan it in with your computer or something like that, but it's you want to use the outline of it for the embossing. I'm going to left click over here on the backdrop tool. It's got like a little picture scene, kind of. It's got like mountains, maybe a hint of a sun behind the mountains. Anyway, this is it right here. And you hover your mouse over it, it says backdrop tool. You left click on it, and then you just go into wherever your picture is. Mine is in my digitizing images folder. Fancy that. And say what I want. Ooh, this is a good one. I'll do Batman logo. Yeah. So I'm going to have an embossed Batman logo. Alright, so there's a couple ways I can do this. You can go in and trace this. So what I want out of this essentially is, oh, you know what I could do? I could do the outer part and have the inner part. So this could be the outer part. The outer part of the shape could be a circle, and then the Batman logo itself could be the inner part. So, all right. So the way that you would do that, first you would want an ellipse. So I go in and pick ellipse, which is a fancy way of saying oval, and I could click and drag and make my circle like this. That way I don't have to trace this manually, since it's a perfect oval already. So like that, and tuck it in a little bit. Okay, cool. So I've got my ellipse in there. Nice. So that's going to be the outer part. That's going to be the part that we combine with my Batman logo in here to create the embossed Batman. So the next thing we're going to do is use the, well, here's where we have a choice, and it's really going to depend on the quality of your artwork, really. We're going to first assume that the quality of our artwork is really good, like this Batman logo. This Batman logo is like enormous. It's very simple. The outlines are very clearly defined. So I can use something called the Magic Wand. And those of you who are familiar with using Floriani Total Control Professional probably already know what the Magic Wand tool is. This is it right here. You choose Magic Wand. It's an icon with a magic wand. We left click on that, and then let's see. We just go and left click anywhere inside our Batman logo, I think. Yeah. So that's different than it used to be in Total Control, because you used to have to Total Control Professional rather. You used to have to pick what type of thing you wanted it to be after it traced it. Like you had to tell it that it was going to be artwork, or you had to tell it would be like a complex fill or whatever. In this case, you just left click on something and it's gonna automatically turn it into artwork. So that just auto traced my Batman in there really quickly, and I can easily now select both of these things. Here, let me hide the backdrop. I'm going to do this by selecting my backdrop tool and then move my mouse over, right click, choose show backdrop here, and it'll make it go away. So you can see my outlines now. I select both of them, I right click, I choose combine, and then I just simply hit the motif fill. Embossed Batman. So that's pretty sweet. And you know, you can do it with anything. It doesn't have to be Batman, obviously. Anything that you can trace, you can make a motif, which is cool. So speaking of tracing, let me show you the way that you do this the hard way, because I know most of the time when people want to do stuff, it's never the simple, perfect artwork. You know, whenever I get somebody that comes in for their first lesson on their software, they want to do the hardest, most complex thing. And so if you want to do the hardest, most complex thing instead of something really simple, basically the way you have to do it is by tracing it manually. If you select the area that you want to be the inside part of this this embossed towel, and it doesn't trace it right with the magic wand, you're going to have to trace it by hand. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to do it the simple way today, using the line tool. So we left click up here and choose line. This is where we can pick between line, pen, and Bezier. Pen, good luck trying to hold a mouse straight and draw. Yeah, I don't think so. Bezier is a whole nother can of beans. We're going to stick to just straight lines. So we're going to use the line tool. And just pick somewhere to start. I'm going to pick the tip of the ear here. Just left click, and then left click where I want the next part of the line to be, and so on. Okay, and then you can actually curve your lines by holding down the control key. So if I go down here to where it starts to curve, I'm going to hold control and then left click. And see how it curves my line around for me as I go? See how it hugged that curve pretty well? And then when my curve changes directions, I have to let go of the control key and do at least one more point before I start to curve it again. See how it does that curve just nice for me? It's pretty cool. So I'm just left clicking. Here I didn't even bother to curve it. Nobody's going to notice if you don't actually curve your line, because I mean, it's going to be an embossed towel, you know, it's not like a billboard or something. So I'm just clicking around. Yeah, no, this part's boring. And look, I'm getting lazy. Alright, I gotta stop. Stop not paying attention to what I'm doing. So, there we go, just clicking. It's a good habit to not click the way that I'm clicking right there. You wanna kind of keep as much distance between your points as you can. I have a very bad habit of clicking too close together, and I need to stop it. And everybody else should too. I'll do some videos on that, like why that is, why it's a good idea to be in that habit later. But just take my word for it now. And I'm almost done. Get back to my first point, and boom, I've traced the Batman logo now. Okay, so that's the other way that you can do it. If the magic wand works, great, use it, because it's no fun tracing stuff really when you don't have to. But now we can do the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and hide my backdrop, select my design, combine it, choose a motif fill, boom, Batman. Change this to F061 for the pattern here in my properties, hit apply. Hooray, Batman's ready to go. And it's the same process for when I did Meadow's name earlier, if I wanted to add the satin stitching around this. So that's it. Advanced towel embossing. I promise this is the last towel embossing video I'll do. I'll start doing some normal digitizing from a backdrop and some how to use the auto digitizer and stuff like that in the following videos. But I wanted to throw out there because I had a couple of people ask me how to do this, you know, with some other stuff. I wanted to throw that out there so everybody could do it. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.